Hi, so this is just my quick October TBR for the month. I will be participating in 2 readathons on top of the wheel of TBR that I've decided to do from this month on. I'll go into the readathons at the end. I'll start with my spins. So let's jump over to yesterday, because I did the spins I already did the spins earlier, and I'll catch you back in a sec. Okay, and the first book that came up was a book called Remarkable Creatures by Tracy Chevalier, I think is how you pronounce it. Since I can't really tell you much about books I haven't read, I'll just read the back. I'll just read the description on the back. Hang on. Mary Adding may be young and uneducated, but she has the eye. Scouring the windswept Jurassic coast near Lyme Regis, she finds the fossils no one else can, making discoveries that will shake the scientific world of the early 19th century. But science is a male-dominated arena, and there are many who disapprove. She finds an unlikely champion in prickly Elizabeth Philpott, unmarried, middle-aged and middle class, and a fellow fossil enthusiast. If they can weather differences in their age and standing, and overcome professional envy, will true friendship prove the rarest find of all. So yeah, this book sounds quite fun, and I can relate to wanting to work in a place that is male dominated. Okay, so let's go to the next spin. And the next book that came up was Marley and Me, the Josh Grogan story. I am terrified to read this book because I've seen the movie, I don't know what happens to, and I know what happens in this book, and the same thing happens every time. I'm always wanting to say it's going to happen every time a book comes up that is about an animal as one of the main characters. I don't really need to go into what this book's about because I'm pretty sure everyone knows what this book's about, especially about this family and their dog Marley. So I won't go too much into that, and I'll move on to spin number 3. And my next spin brought me to the book Little Things by an author I'm not even going to try and pronounce. I'm just going to hold it up here. This is pretty much the story of village life in northeast Thailand. And it's told by a young girl who, again, I wouldn't even try to pronounce. I'll just put the name on the screen. As she grows from childhood to maturity. It's only it's less than 200 pages, but it sounds like a sweet little story. I don't really think I need to say too much else about it because I don't really know that much else about it. So we'll move on to spin number 4. And spin number 4 brought me to a book called Jailbird by Jesse Kane. I'll just read the back of this because I don't know much about it. Convicted of murdering her husband, London villain Leo King, she hasn't been missed. Everyone believes she got what she deserves, but Lily knows she was fitted up. Now she's out and doesn't do forgiveness. In her absence, things have moved on and the old order has changed. But now she's ready to reclaim her position as head of the King family. See, this book sounds kind of intriguing because I'm pretty sure it's going to be a revenge story with a badass female character. And I love that in the book. I do. So, yeah, that's pretty much this book. So, we'll move on. Okay, and the fifth spin took me to Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen. Again, I don't really think I have to go into too much about what this is about because it's a classic and everyone knows Jane Austen's stories. It's kind of the version I've got is kind of a pretty cover. Just a pink little floppy book. But yeah, I won't go into too much details about what this is about because it's a pretty well-known story. And with that, we'll move on to my sixth and final spin for this month. And my final spin for the month brought me to Straight On Till Morning, which is a Peter Pan Twisted Tale. The Twisted Tales are a series of like what ifs with the Disney movies, and this one is what if Wendy went to Neverland with Captain Hook rather than Peter Pan. Now, I haven't actually read the original Peter Pan story, so I'm pretty much going off the movie, which I wasn't the biggest fan of, so hopefully I will like this. And yeah, so that was my... So this is my sixth book on my TBR. And with that, we'll move on to my readathon TBR. Okay, so I'm participating in 2 readathons this month. I'm participating in Spoopy Hole's Spoopathon. And I'm also participating in the Magical Hopathon, both of which I'll have all the information linked down below so that regulars find it better than me. And I pledged to go through the Spoop Haunted House. I pledged to go through twice. I have list for 3 times, but just like with school and stuff, I didn't know how I was going to commit. Okay, and my first starting point is the Gifted to You prompt, and that will be a book called Sandman Slim by Richard Kadri. This is about a guy who was trapped in hell for 11 years, and now he's back for revenge. Yeah, and now he's back for revenge. It's got the spooky vibes I was going for in. It's got the spooky vibes I was going for October, and it's also got my team colour because I'm Team Ghouls Just Want to Have Fun. Just a great name, and the team colour is blue. So yeah, this is my first raid for the Spoopathon. The second raid was autumnal cover. So basically, read a book that has an autumnal feel cover or one that reminds you of autumn. And I had 2 options for this, but I think I'll go with the graphic novel Username Regenerated, because it's got the like yellow, orange and gold of autumn, and this has been on my TBR forever, and I just want to read it so that it can be counted as read. Which, yeah, because even if I don't like it, at least it'll finally be off my shelf, and it's nice, and it is nice and short. And since our team's special ability is to skip a prompt I'm going to skip the next line of plus 500 pages and new genre. And then the next prompt was trick or treat. I gave the Discord two options. I gave them the option of a book called Heaven's Bones by a name that I can't remember, and The Couple Next Door by Shirley Lapina. And The Couple Next Door won my trick or treat prompt. So I'll be reading this book. This is pretty much about this family that... Basically, I'll just read the taglines. You never know what's happening on the other side of the wall. What would you be capable of when pushed past your limit? It's basically about this couple that their kid disappears or something like that, and I'm assuming it's connected to the couple next door. And again, this gets me the prompt of team colour because this whole cover is blue. So yay for bonus points. And then the final prompt to get me out of the haunted house is to read a book after dark. And for that I'm going with Tales of Suspense by Edgar Allan Poe. It's a collection of Edgar Allan Poe's short stories. Which again goes for the October feels. Yeah, it's got like this, it's the Reader's Digest edition, so it's got like newspaper clippings, and the writing's pretty big, so it should be an easy enough read to do. Yeah, that's my first trip through the haunted house. The second trip is going to be completely audiobooks because I'm going back to school, and I figure the points only matter for the first one because there's ghosts to defeat and doors to exit. So my second path, I'm going to start at the black cover prompt, and I'm going to listen to the audiobook of Hound of the Baskervilles by Arthur Conan Doyle, and I'll put the cover for all of these on the screen. I can't quite remember what Hound of the Baskervilles is about. I just know that it's like a spooky feel based on the guy that wrote Sherlock Holmes, so I'm intrigued. The second one is translated book, and for that I'm going to audiobook 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea by Jules Verne. This is a story that most people know about Captain Nemo and his crew and their travels under the sea. And the next one I'm going to combine the next three prompts of 500 pages, new genre, and trick or treat, because I had the Discord vote for trick or treat, and the options were Misery by Stephen King or Dracula by Bram Stoker. For so long Misery was winning, and then it became Dracula. So I'll be combining 500 pages, new genre, and trick or treat, and I will be reading Dracula for that prompt. And then for my Read It After Dark, or in my case, Listen to After Dark, I'll be doing Final Girls by Riley Sager. Now, again, I'm late to the Riley Sager games, so most people know who Riley Sager is. And I picked Final Girls as the book pretty much because when I was with my friends, we were joking around about what our roles in horror movies would be, and they were all joking around that I would be the final girl. And I kind of went with that, and so I'll be listening to Final Girls. And then my third path around, I will be starting at Reread a Comfort Read, and for that I put a poll on Discord again because I couldn't pick, and it came back that I will be rereading You Should See Me in a Crown, which I'll either read physically or I'll do the audiobook, which again I'll have access to. And then for graphic novel, I have Primer which is basically a graphic novel about a 13-year-old girl that becomes a superhero using spray. That becomes a superhero by covering herself with spray paint. And yeah, so this just seems like a cute, fun little short novel. And the art style in it is so cute. And yeah, so that's what I'll be reading for my graphic novel prompt. And for the new genre, I will be counting Sense and Sensibility, and counting that for my new genre because I really read one Jane Austen before, and I wasn't really sure how I felt about it, so I'm gonna do another Jane Austen and see what ends up being the final verdict about Jane Austen with me. The last book I forgot to get off my shelf, so a sec. Okay, my last book for... Oh, sorry, my second to last book was again Trick or Treat. It was between my audiobook of Bridget Jones' Diary and Nevermore, The Tales of Morrigan Crow. And Nevermore, The Tales of Morrigan Crow is the Trials of Morrigan Crow is the one that I'll be reading for this prompt. And again, this goes with the team colour because this cover is almost completely blue for main colours. Again, I'm late to the game with this book, but basically I'll just read this prompt. Readers will feel as though Harry Potter is meeting Alice in Wonderland. So that sounds kind of fun. So yeah, that will be my Trick or Treat prompt for this one. And the last prompt is Read It After Dark. And again, I'll be going to one from my wheel of TBR, and I'll just be doing little things because it's less than 200 pages. It's nice and short, and I could probably round this off in a night if I tried hard enough. So yeah, I'll be counting this as my Read It After Dark prompt. And that's it for my Spoopathon reading plans. And the final readathon I'll be completing is the Magical Hopathon. So the Magical Hopathon is basically a readathon started on YouTube to celebrate the 50-year anniversary opening of the park. And so again, I will put information for this below, and I'll also put a graphic on the screen so that you can you know what I'm talking about with this. The first prompt is the entry ticket, so you pick one of the 4 entry tickets, and I will be doing the Hollywood Studios entry ticket, which is a book that either has a movie adaptation or will become a movie adaptation. I will be going for Mockingjay, the final book in the Hunger Games series, because I have been in the middle of the last book for so long that I'm finally going to get off my butt and read it so that I can finish the series. Because reading the series it's always a good achievement. And then basically how this works is you pick one prompt from each section, and so the first one is Toy Story Mania, which is a non-human main character. I will be incorporating that and counting Dracula as my prompt for that, because vampires are definitely not humans. Okay, and the next one is Carrot Cake Cookie, which is Read a Chunky Book. And I forgot to get this one off the shelf, but I will also probably be audiobooking this one, and that's Oliver Twist by Charles Dickens. Everyone knows the story of Oliver Twist. I love the musical. Haven't read the original source material, so we'll see how that goes. And then the final one is Beauty and the Beast, which is the read a retelling. So again, I'll be going for one that's already on my TBR, and it's straight on till morning, the Peter Pan retelling. And then I'm going to go through, and then I'm going to do this one a second time. I don't have to do another entrance ticket, but the next one will be, I can't remember what part this is for, but but on the graphic it's like the first column, and the first prompt is to read a spooky book. So I'll either be counting Edgar Allan Poe's short stories or The Couple Next Door, because I think this counts as spooky. Yeah. The idea of that is quite terrifying, but if that doesn't count, I'll do Edgar Allan Poe as my prompt for that. The next one is Cheshire Cat Tale, which is read a book with a sweet romance, and that will be another audiobook that I found on Scribd, which was I Love You So Mochi. It's kind of a Japanese love story romance. It's about a girl who travels to Japan and develops a romance with a guy over there. The idea of that sounds so sweet, and I really just want to listen to that. And the last prompt is Mickey's Friendship Fair, which is read a book about friendship. So I'm going to be reading The Sisterhood of the Travelling Pants by Anne Brashares. This is basically about four friends who are very different and have never spent a summer apart. They are going to be for the first time, and there's this magical pair of genes that keeps them all together. So that's pretty up. And there is one more, or two more reading things that I will be participating in, but they are purely reading challenges throughout the year, and one of them is completely Melanie's TBR knockout challenge. One of them is to read a book with any night sky element on the cover. So I'll be continuing the list by Patricia Ford, because I really just want to get some more books that I've started finished. So yeah, I'll be reading this one. It's basically words are being limited, and you can only use specific words that are allowed by this government people. Yeah, it's literally 500 words is all you're allowed to say, and the words are on this list. I think it's a dystopian. So yeah, this sounds fun, and I can finally I can count some more that I've started but not finished. And the other prompt for that readathon is read a spooky book. So pretty much I have that covered with any of these. And the final the final reading challenge that I'm a part of is Chantel at An Intentional Life's reading, like, I can't remember what it's called, but I'll link it below. And basically her prompt for October is read a book not set in your country. Again, any of these will work, but I might count Dracula by Bram Stoker for that. And anyway, that is my TBR for this month. So we'll see how I do when I check back in. Bye.